You guys that have been to prison, actually, all you guys that have been to medium securities, low securities, or even camp or minimum securities if it's state prison, this is for you. Have you guys ever met anybody that was too hard for the yard? You know what I'm talking about. Too hard for the yard. Hello, welcome to Convict Inc. My name is Robert Rosso. I'm the host of the show. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so. For all you new subs that have subscribed, or to people that have subscribed that are new subs, thank you. If you like this video, please push like and share it with your family, friends, neighbors, enemies, etc. Too hard for the yard. Let me give you an example real quick. The guy comes into an FCI, medium security facility. He just comes from a maximum security facility. He's been at a USP. Now he's down at a medium. Walks up. He's in the chow hall. He says, man, I'm going to tell you right now. You see that? Dude just cut the line. I'm telling you, when I was in a pen, that dude would be stabbed up right now. I'm putting up a man. I can't deal with these dudes. I can't deal with these dudes. I'm trying to go back to a pen, man. Yeah. I will say that it was a culture shock to me after being in a maximum or a high. Actually, they're called highs. USPs are called highs. After I was in a USP, Leavenworth and Lewisburg for 10 years, and then I went to Butner Hospital, then to a medium-low security facility, Butner 1. It was a culture shock. And it is true that there were times when I was there that I was like, this sucks because of the sex offenders that were there, because of the law enforcement and stuff like that, right? I always say it took me 9 months. It didn't take me 9 months to adjust to the prison. I can adjust to prisons pretty good, sadly. But the sex offender thing took me a minute, and then the law enforcement, having a lot of ex-law enforcement. But that was the prison mentality stuff. So I'm there a couple years, and here comes a guy who was from Philadelphia. Oh God, I should look this up. Anyway, he came from Victorville. Now, he went from Victorville. He was at Victorville for a while, and he came to Butner acting like he was too hard for the yard. He was pressing up on guys, pressing guys for commissary, weaker guys. He moved and acted like he was a sly convict. I told a friend of mine, we called him Too Hard because he was kind of like, bullied up on people. He did cut in line because everybody was weak, so he thought he should be in line first and get the food. Come to find out, the dude came out of the hole at Victorville, and he was a huge rat against the Aryan Brotherhood, actually, and ends up at Butner 1 because they had basically a step-down program. Butner 1, there's other facilities too, that have, I forgot the exact name of it, but if you're at a USP and you're having problems, you go through the psychology department, they'll send you to this program. If you complete this program, you get to go to a lower security prison and a prison of your choice. So this guy's acting like he didn't want to be there all the while. He asked psychology at Victorville to send him there. And he cried all the time about the sex offenders, which I did too one time. Just that this yard wasn't cool. Now let me explain this yard to you. It was like a college campus. Trees growing in the yard. When you walked in, it was like a college campus. That's what it reminded you of. The track, the outside had almost like this figure 8 type of track, cool rec center. It's something that you're not used to when you're in maximum security prisons. There's a sense of freedom when you come from a max. And there are some guys who will say that they don't like that. And there's some guys that actually don't. But the most common thing is guys coming from a USP, and then all they want to do the whole time they're in a medium or in a low, or a medium security, I should say, is tell about how great those USPs were, about how respectful the yard was, how they'd rather be back there. Now, most of the USPs nowadays get locked down all the time. There's a lot of violence, a lot of drugs. You do get used to those kind of environments, but to then go to a prison like Butner where that dude was and miss it and say you miss, there's absolutely something wrong with you. But again, it is so common for guys that tell USP war stories or maximum security prison war stories. I don't know what the need, what the reason that is. Well, I do know. It's like guys who wouldn't necessarily get a lot of tattoos who then get tattoos as a way of a protection, as a way of a shield. I say that a lot of guys in prison go there and get tattoos because they want to be a puffer fish. They want dudes to stay away from them. Look at my tattoos. I got Swazis on me. I got gang, whatever, Stay away. That's what it is. So when they go to a medium and they start talking all the rah-rah stuff, about how great the USPs were, really that dude's insecure about himself and scared. That's really what it comes down to. But I was thinking about it today. I was actually thinking about doing Too Hard for the Streets, which will be another video. Because the opposite of this is there's guys that go to the street, parole out, whatever, who then are on the street talking about how great prison was all the time. Oh God, I know there'll be jokes about here. That's not true. I've been saying I can talk about the good things in prison, but that man, the penitentiary this and the penitentiary that, like romanticizing or glamorizing about how great it was. I'll do that video. I'll do another video about it. But this one is like I said, just so you guys understand, I'm missing a very big point. So when somebody goes from a USP to a medium security facility, this is the biggest point, and I almost blew it. When somebody goes from a USP in the feds to a medium, they had to have been clear conduct for a period of time, at least 18 months. They had to be a model inmate-ish, okay? Not get in any trouble. So they then come to a medium or an FCI talking about how great the pen was and all this shit that happened. Well, obviously they hadn't busted a grape in at least 18 months. And really, if there was violence on the record, it would be longer than that. So that rah-rah talk about the good old days in the USP and about how hard they were and about how they did doesn't pan out with how they wanted to be transferred to a medium, because they put in for that transfer. I will say that once upon a time, if you were in a USP, there was guys that wanted to be there. Absolute Leavenworth for sure. Guys with low points that could have actually been worked their way down to a low, so that they would have had to work their way down from a pin to a medium to a low. There was guys Leavenworth that chose to stay there rather than do that. At one point, central office started making those guys get transferred. But there's plenty of guys that are USPs that want to stay there. The old ones that I was at anyway. But nowadays they suck. But yeah, so to drill in that point, those guys that are all too hard for the yard, like the guy I told you about who came out of Victorville Hole, who was really a big rat, acting bullyish, acting too hard for the yard, huge rat. The guys that come that are talking about the good old days in the pen and how they miss it and want to go back, they were model inmates. They had to have, for some period of time, been clear conduct, or they wouldn't have got there. They put in for a transfer to go to a medium. Most of the time, there's some cases where staff will make them drop a custody level or whatever like that. But this is such a common thing that happens when you're at an FCI. And there's always a mentality for guys that come out of USPs to an FCI that everybody's a punk. I have talked about being in a gang called the Dirty White Boys. In a USP as a dirty white boy, if a gang member was patched, if another dirty white boy was patched up in a medium and then he got in trouble and came to a USP, he had more problems and had to put in more work. It was almost like he had a probate or prospect all over again for like a year. Looking back, we did those guys bad that came, the brothers bad that came from an FCI to a pin. Actually, I didn't really, but whatever. They were done bad and they were looked at as less than. That's the same thing how guys from USPs come when they look at guys from mediums. Majority of the guys, okay? And I'm not saying that, I'm putting that, so more than 50% act that way, I would say. Of course, those are guys that are grateful to be there and like, gee, this is great, the food's wonderful. Those aren't the guys that are trying to pretend they're too hard for the yard, just to be clear. So, yeah, just wanted to put that out there. I know some guys that have been in the joint will understand that, especially the feds. because, like, for example, in the Arkansas Department of Corrections, everybody gets, you can have a drunk driving charge and be put with a lifer. At least you could in the 90s. So that didn't even matter. You can have a 4-year sentence, and on a 4-year sentence, you're going to do less than a year and be put in like a barracks with everybody doing 40 life or stuff like that. Yeah, so that system's a little different. California guys would understand more. They got level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So California dudes, you guys understand, guys that came out of a Pelican Bay or higher securities than they drop, they sometimes can be acting too hard for the art. So you guys get it. Yeah, just wanted to put that out there. I will have this released. No, I should do it tonight too as well. Friday's a bad day for videos, actually. So, we'll see. I'm gonna do Too Hard for the Streets.